Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second session. Please take your seats. We are running seriously late, half hour, but more than half hour. 1 hour late, even. Anyway, so we will speedily move on to the next thing here. The next session is actually connected a little bit to the first session, at least on the comment we had from Interior and PwC. It's about crew welfare. And not only crew welfare, but actually what factors are affecting crew welfare. And we will first have two presentations here. The coffee break we jump over because we had it. And then we will move on to a panel discussion about crew welfare and taking the actions there. So I would like to welcome the first speaker, David Tropp Hag from KVH. So the floor is yours.
Is it this one? Thank you very much. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from your break. I hope you had some coffee. Very quickly, introductions. My name is David Tropp Hag. I am the Vice President of Sales for KVH Industries. KVH is a global leader in connectivity solutions, and we're involved in crew welfare through provision of satellite connectivity solutions and carefully curated content provided to the ships for the crew's welfare purposes. Over the years, KVH has been involved in and sponsored research into crew welfare, such as the Happiness Index. And every time these reports come out, we try to digest them and see if there's anything interesting for them. And this is part of the findings that I'll present here today from these reports. For the past year, I'm sure you've all seen, and actually in the last session we heard about lots of AI stuff and ChatGPT and robots coming to take our jobs. But I'm pretty sure we all feel quite the opposite. In fact, there is a crew shortage, there is a staff shortage in every industry in the world. Globally, a recent report by Korn Ferry said that in 2030 we will lack 85 million skilled workers in the global workforce. In that light, it's no surprise that shipping is also searching for talented staff. But are there any specific challenges for shipping other than this mega trend, you can say, affecting all industries? And yes, there are, of course. The most important ones, I would say, are access to shore leave for ships' crew, and the other one is an aging population, or an aging crew population. So when the workforce is approaching retirement rapidly, and Gen Z is not particularly interested in going to sea, it's a double problem. So we need to find solutions that can fill the pipeline of young seafarers, reducing the acceleration of this problem quickly. One of the reasons that young crew is not going to sea, we heard from a recent Dell research, is the lack of technology solutions on board. Up to 91% of crew actually choose their employer based on the technological solutions available on board, which is quite astounding. But if you've ever seen the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I'm sure a lot of HR people know this. There have been added another element to the bottom of physical needs, and it's Wi-Fi. So you need food, heat, shelter, and Wi-Fi. This is basic needs for every human being, apparently. Also on ships. So, but on a global scale, Korn Ferry estimated that the world will need 85 million skilled workers by 2030. They also estimate that the implications of this is $8.5 trillion of unrealized revenue potential. That's pretty crazy. That's a big number, huh? So if you factor that, it's $100,000 lost revenue per missing person in the industry. Probably even a higher number if you look at the pivotal role that seafarers play in the world economy. I would say that that's a pretty important function. I can't remember who mentioned the number 90,000, but I also found that number, that the shipping industry, I think BIMCO mentioned that the shipping industry in 2026 will need 96,000 skilled workers. So using that same factor, there's a nice little incentive to go and get more people. 9.6 billion in lost revenue if you don't. So there's a 9.6 billion incentives for you. So what can we do? We have extracted what we find in these reports to be interesting, of course, mainly from KVH's point of view, as providers of connectivity and content. And here are some of the things to consider in snappy headlines. I'll get into each of those. Are you localizing? We heard about the diversity of the crew on ships. They're from all over the world, 20, 30, 40 different nationalities. But are you doing what you can to provide crew members with local interests and native language content? So I don't know how many of you stay in hotels regularly. I do. And if you stay in a hotel for a couple of days, you probably get fairly tired of BBC World and local news channels that you don't understand. I think you can imagine what it's like being on a vessel for 3 months without anything to watch. So look into any local content you can provide that has a genuine interest from the crew. That is something they would actually watch when they're at home. This could be news from home in their native language. Could also be entertainment content from a variety of sources, not just the latest Hollywood movies, Bollywood movies. Nigeria has a big movie scene called Nollywood, not kidding. So provide local content from these different demographics, but also provide it in a variety of languages with subtitles if possible, to sort of cater for a larger part of the crew and include them so they make sure they enjoy it. One of the arguments we hear when we present this is that, no, we don't want to do that. The language on board is English. We try to encourage English speaking and English learning. And that is actually good arguments. They're sensible. But on the other hand, if you're providing only English content and it's not used, then it's kind of a waste. So it's better to blend it, provide English and maybe local subtitles. Then you will do something to boost crew morale. Socializing, we heard before, mental health is a real concern about vessels. So are you ensuring that you do something to foster opportunities for social interaction on board the vessels? Social isolation and mental health are big issues, very high on the agenda in the Seafarer Happiness Index. Crew does not feel there are reasons or occasions to interact with the other crew in common areas on board the vessels. So shipping companies should think about ways that they can create social life on board the vessels. And of course, take input from the crew as much as possible for this. I think last time we were here, it was an ICT conference, but also talking about ICT in an HR and training perspective. And some of the things that came up from COVID experiences was that a lot of social activities all of a sudden manifested themselves on board the vessels. Barbecue evenings, basketball tournaments. But if you're looking from a technology point of view, we can provide services that facilitate karaoke evenings, movie nights, and things like that. They're very popular activities on board the vessels, even sports events we can cover. Legal aspects, also very important, and you can add cybersecurity into that as it's becoming a legal aspect also in the near future. If you go down the route of providing content for your vessels, make sure you provide something that is licensed, and you find a provider that is actually licensed to provide news and movie content on board the vessels. First of all, you avoid the risk of crew bringing their own content on board on strange storage devices, plugging them into the network on board, and you never know what else has been on those devices. But you also avoid the risk of getting hit by lawsuits from content rights owners, which is actually a real thing, that they do have that, and they do actually survey vessels also for the legal content on board the vessels. Normal DVDs and streaming services are not legally intended for viewing on ships, which may be a surprise to some. It does require a specific commercial, non-theatrical license to show a movie in a common room on a vessel. So by having local content on a variety of devices in the crew network, you can get the most out of your content. And of course, the crew network is always separated from the business network. So if the crew plugs in something, it will not spread to any other part of the network. So that was a lot about content. Oh, back again. The other element was connectivity. Are you doing what you can to outfit your vessels with the connectivity technology that allows adequate access to the crew, connecting with home and friends and family? Again, the Seafarer Happiness Index is a good place to measure that, and to our great satisfaction, crew is actually expressing an increasing satisfaction with this. So something is happening, something has happened in the last 5-6 years, and crew is generally more satisfied. Doesn't mean it's perfect, there is still room for improvement. Crew complains a lot about slow speed, high latency, variable speed, expensive connectivity, and variable speeds between vessels, even in the same fleet. So I know a lot of the ship management companies here service a large portfolio of owners, and perhaps the owners have very different policies to this, but the crew could be the same rotating between the vessels. So if they come from one vessel with excellent connectivity going to another vessel, you can be sure that they will ask not to get back to that vessel again in the future. The Seafarer Happiness Index, the latest one in Q1, actually also showed a lot of hope in this area. Seafarers have also heard the news about new technology entering the market, from Starlink, from OneWeb. Just around the corner we have Amazon joining the game with their Kuiper network. And this fills them with hope that finally we will actually see a bridging of the gap between connectivity on the vessels and what they experience at home. But for shipping companies, this will require new integration efforts and careful planning of how you manage all these different technologies on board the vessels. As a shipping company, you must provide the best and the fastest quality of connections in all the scenarios, even when there's no Starlink or no OneWeb available. So you must also secure the ongoing business of the vessel, of course. So let me check time here. At the same time, you must also ensure that the budget is optimized. This can be done by moving lots of the heavy traffic, less critical traffic, away from the more expensive legacy services and onto the new high-speed services, or even shore-based cellular services. To do that, you reduce your dependency on the old-fashioned VSAT and L-band services that I so proudly sell myself. But we know that in the future, this will not be the first violin of the orchestra on the vessel. It will be the high-capacity services carrying the heavy weight. So by reducing your dependency on these technologies, you can add the Starlink or other technology to the budget without increasing it a lot, and you can actually take leaps in terms of connectivity from the point of the crew. So that's very real opportunities at the moment. But because this pace of technology is so rapid, it's also important that you look at solutions that provide you with flexibility. What's available today might be very different in 6 months. So you have to make sure that you choose a solution that can be scaled, both in terms of integrating new technology types when they arrive, but also be upgraded and downgraded as your needs change. Services like agile plans from KVH are fully flexible, can be scaled, can be terminated, can be upgraded as you wish. So new services like Starlink open up a world that hasn't been available before, and crew might jump to the conclusion that now they can actually do as they do at home. They can stream Netflix, all of them. That would be a very suboptimal way of applying your new bandwidth, I would say. First of all, it's not legal, but it's also very, very fast going to fill up the pipeline. So controls need to be put in place. So you should consider having solutions that actually store content on board so they can stream it out from a server locally instead of having to pull everything over the internet or over the satellite and clogging the data pipes completely. But frankly speaking, as I mentioned, budgets haven't changed a lot and probably won't change a lot with the new services coming. But there's still such a small part of the vessel's operational budget that maybe it's worth considering if what we say is also true, that we place such a high importance on crew. Crew plays a high importance on connectivity. So why are we seeing budgets being the same as they were 15 years ago, maybe even lower today? Okay, you get a lot more for your money, but it's not like more is being invested in this very important aspect of crew happiness, you could even say. Supercharge your connectivity, spend a little bit more. It's not a crazy amount, $40, $50 per crew member per month on a typical vessel. You can really, really do a big difference, at times 100 to what you have today. And this wouldn't just benefit crew through better contact with their family and their friends. Actually, you can also do a lot with digitalization. You could optimize processes, as our good friend from IBM talked about. When you take away tedious paper tasks from crew, they also feel more meaningful about what they do. I mean, filling out 11 different noon reports probably isn't very motivating for anyone. So if something can be optimized through digitalization, that would also help motivation for the crew. So with that, I will conclude my 5 recommendations on these considerations. You should address the crew's local interests and native languages when you consider solutions. You should ensure that whatever solutions you implement will foster opportunities for social life on board the vessels. You can provide a variety of content that is accessible on a variety of devices so that the crew can actually feel that they are almost like at shore. Make sure that it's legal. You should outfit your vessels with a connectivity suite that allows for adequate access to the crew, so they have real access to the internet and feel that Wi-Fi. And of course, you can minimize and optimize your crew data and hardware costs so your crew content and connectivity efforts are sustainable. Of course, all considering cybersecurity in the picture. So with that, just want to say KVH, as one provider at least, is ready to meet your needs with regards to all of these areas. We provide our VSAT connectivity solutions, integrating with 5G connectivity and Wi-Fi. We also provide KVH Link. Some of you may know NewsLink. It's been a very popular service for many years. This has evolved to also include TV news, movies, TV shows, karaoke, music data banks on board. So make sure that you actually do offer what's available today. And finally, our agile plans will provide the flexibility and technological integration that the future requires. So those are our recommendations and considerations for you to consider. Thank you very much.